What you doing? Making a video? Let's build the bus.
Welcome to the Hippie, Geeks, and our Skoolie Conversion Soul the Sun Chaser. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to catch all our new content. It was nearly 9 months ago when we attempted our first adventure in Seoul when the transmission decided to try to kill itself and we limped her home. I find it hard to believe that it was 7 months ago that we posted our last update about the bus when we installed the deadbolt lock in the front door, which has been working spectacularly if you're curious. One of the most asked questions we get is what the status of the bus is. The short answer is nothing has happened. She is pretty much sitting in the exact same position she was when we limped her home, and this is actually the first time I have started her in 6 months. That is not to say that she has been useless at all, but the reality of what this year turned into, compared to what we thought it was going to be when we bought the bus, are about as completely different as possible. When we bought the bus, we saw a summer of adventure ahead of us. We would spend the last summer that our oldest daughter would be home on the road in the woods, building memories in a bus that would someday be our home when the children all moved out. Once we got home from that disaster, we regrouped and started looking into our options. Best case scenario, a simple fluid flush would at least get her back to functional, but most of the people we talked to believed that it would take more than that to really get the old girl roadworthy again. Minimum, we are looking at $500 for another checkup and fluid change. However, if the transmission is shot, the costs jump up from there. If we find a used transmission to have a shot put in, we are looking at $2,000 to $3,000 to get her back on the road with a used transmission that could just as easily fail on us again. If the engine itself got damaged somehow, then things get really crazy with prices. With that in mind, we buckled down and moved towards repair, whatever that entailed. That is when life decided to step in and change things. A lot. Our oldest needed braces, and if we were going to do that for her, it had to happen in the spring so that they could be off by the time she leaves for college. We made that happen and pushed the bus back a little further in our minds so that we could make that work. Lindsay's medical issues flared up, and she could no longer work on furniture or even volunteer at Noah's school without dealing with excruciating pain, so some of our income disappeared. Then our roommates decided to turn into complete a-holes and move out with no notice, leaving the place wrecked and us unwilling to rent to someone again, with another hit to our income. Finally, the worst one, the family emergency that I have mentioned in the past. Lindsay's mom had a heart attack, a pretty bad one, and Lindsay wound up on the coast helping them out for a bit until they could get back on their feet. I am not telling you any of this for pity. I know that affording braces is a first world problem and everyone deals with issues all the time. I'm simply telling you this because we have always been honest with you, our viewers, the good and the bad and everything in between. We are blessed in so many ways, and the fact that the bus broke down hasn't ruined our feelings about buying her, it's just another setback to overcome. While she has been sitting there, she has hosted numerous slumber parties. Every one of the kids has had a sleepover in there, and several friends have spent multiple weekends camping out, experiencing life in a bus. Lindsay's folks moved in with us not too long ago. With both their medical issues, it just made more sense to have them close, and the bus has allowed us to store their belongings and give them a chance to go through everything when they are up to it to decide what to keep and what to get rid of. This is not the end, and it has not all been heartbreak. We will revisit having her looked at and decide what to do from there. It might be expensive, but if you put a remanufactured engine and transmission into a bus, you virtually have a new bus, and it is something we have been seriously considering. This is not the end of bus life for us. It is just a bump in the road. No dream becomes reality easily. That is a risk you take by actually doing something. So many people talk about things, but never try to do them because that is safe. You can't fail if you don't try. We will always try, and we wouldn't have it any other way. If this is your first time here visiting Soul the Sun Chaser, it would be wonderful to have you subscribe. This channel is all about our Skoolie journey, the good, the bad, and everything in between. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and check out our Patreon page or merch store to support the channel directly. Until next time, keep seeking adventure, chasing the sun.